and another, which is reported in 2021 Supreme Court page 1492 AIR. I am sure the Judicial Academies will devise speedily the necessary inputs which have to be made part of the training of young judges. Sensitizing would equally be important for all other judges. All other, I mean all other judges. In their continuing educational program for gender sensitization. If I pause here and put a question to myself and also to the audience, why did the necessity arose for having this topic to have the conference on? Have we stopped working from our hearts? Judicial officers especially. These are things which come from the heart. We say that the police, we have a police officer here, many of them here. They don't work from their heart, they work for law and justice. We work for law and order. We work for law and justice. They also work for law and justice, but for them immediate action has to be taken at times for maintaining law and order. When the case comes to a judicial officer, you have to be sensitized towards every section, not just the female section, which is victimized. By victimization, I do not mean crime has been committed against that person of a heinous type. Any victimization which takes place affects the psyche of that person. Today, if you go on the road and you are wrongly challaned, you are victimized. Have a heart for that person. You will have to work with not just your mind, you will not have to do paper justice, just the paper justice. You have to visualize what is going on in the heart of that person. I hope I am not worrying anybody over there. You have to be sensitized about it. When tennis came as an international sport, people were sensitized to the subject. Men played 5 sets, women played 3. But they are on an equal footing. They get the same award. You have to see how a person is not victimized, but is on a lesser platform than the other and have to bring it up to that same platform and then do justice. I am extremely thankful to our Honorable the Chief Justice of the High Court of Judicature at Allahabad that with his vision and futuristic approach, these kinds of programs are being organized, which will not only help you improvise the way you render justice, but also it would enhance the working capabilities of our judicial officers. Here again I pause and aim at the students sitting there. You have to be sensitized from the very beginning. You are going to join a profession which is very demanding. It requires not just an ambition to earn, but an ambition to get justice to the wronged. From today itself you resolve that as and when you enter the law classes, every subject that you would study, every lesson that you would imbibe, you will see to it that it is towards the cause of justice, not just justice between two brothers if they have fought, not just justice between two companies if they have fought with each other. It has to be justice between one who has been wronged illegally. Anybody who has been wronged is illegal. But one who has been actually wronged must be done justice. We should be sensitized how that justice will have to be given to that person. How a person who is being victimized hides the crime which has been committed against him. You will have to be sensitized how that victim has to tell about that crime, right from the lodging of the first information report down to the answering of the charges, down to everything. Everybody who has been victimized, you must bear in your mind that you have to keep his psyche, her psyche in your heart, and then do justice, and then study to the students, then study accordingly. Gender justice and victims' rights are most discussed issues since the judicial system came into existence. Gender-based discrimination in criminal justice system creates significant obstacles in achieving access to justice for all. This problem disproportionately affects women who still face significant barriers in accessing justice as victims, witnesses, alleged offenders, or prisoners. The key challenges range from the discriminating criminal laws and procedures and lack of gender diversity among criminal justice professionals to gender bias and stereotyping stigmas. The district courts are considered the base of the pyramidal structure of our prevailing judicial system in India. They are considered to be the first point of contact of victims, offenders, and witnesses in this justice delivery system. I know judges of our district courts are already sufficiently sensitized on issues of gender justice, but more emphasis is required from their side on victims of sexual abuse. I thank the Judicial Training and Research Institute, Lucknow, for choosing this issue and streamlining topics of this conference in such a manner that it covers issues starting from the registration of the first information report in sexual offense cases by victims to awarding compensation for them. Rights of accused in justice delivery system are often discussed, but there is very little discussion about rights of victims, and more importantly, victims of sexual abuse. Problems for a victim start the moment an offense is committed against him or her, and more importantly, a sexual offense. No one can feel the mental trauma through which that victim goes through. In prevailing social system, a victim of sexual offense is often stigmatized. She starts facing hurdles, she or he starts feeling hurdles right from her own relatives in the access for justice. Problems range from the registration of the first information report in the police station to difficulties faced by that victim in proving his or her own case in the courts. The police plays a pivotal role in victim assistance, as it is the first agency victims come into contact with after being victimized by a certain crime. The attitude of the victims towards the entire criminal judicial system will be based on the kind of treatment the victim gets from the police whom they first encounter. The police at the field level, who are in actual contact with the victims in day-to-day crime situations, I'm sorry to say, blissfully ignorant of the international and national developments in the field of victimology and the treatment they deserve from the police. Here, the role of the court starts. Section 156(3) of the Criminal Procedure Code empowers the magistrate to order registration of first information report and investigation of a case when a cognizable offence has been committed and police station concerned has refused to register the first information report and a victim approaches the court for justice. more sensitive approach is required from judicial officers before whom such applications are presented. In the recent judgment of XYZ versus State of Madhya Pradesh and others, the Supreme Court of India has stated, I quote, while dealing with the case of rape, courts must remain alive to their duty to treat victims sensitively in cases alleging all forms of sexual harassment and sexual assault. The courts must try to ensure that the process of attempting to bring alleged perpetrators to justice is not onerous for the victims. Aggrieved persons should not have to run from pillar to post for mere registration of complaint and initiation of investigation, especially when a cognizable offence is prima facie made out in a complaint. Unquote. Understanding the psychology of the physically disabled victims of sexual abuse is also important, because the victims need support so that they can feel empowered. Most victims stay silent about sexual assault and abuse due to victim blaming, cultural misunderstanding, familial backlash, and psychological impacts of sexual trauma. Our criminal justice system already provides for special assistance to physically disabled victims and witnesses by providing them special educator and interpreter. We need to further strengthen the support system provided to the physically disabled victims and witnesses by providing an amicable environment during trial and recording of evidence. Here again, I would pause and say, the heart has to play a big role. Not just talk by looking at a paper, do paper justice, and apply your mind and finish off. The heart has to be applied here. Vulnerable witness protection schemes, the rules for which have been framed most recently in the case of Smruti, Tukaram Badari and others versus State of Maharashtra, shall be the guiding principles for the judicial officers while recording evidence of vulnerable witnesses, which now include child witnesses, but also age-neutral victim and gender-neutral witnesses of sexual assault, witnesses suffering from mental illnesses, and witnesses with threat perception, and any speech or hearing impaired individual or person suffering from other disabilities. After a crime has been committed against the victim needs reconstruction of her life financially, physically, emotionally, and socially. This is today a conference on the victim side. There should be a conference and would be there. The KKRI is here for how we have to deal with the emotions of even a person who was an accused and has been punished. This is also a great field which is coming up. And the junior court should definitely be prepared. Victim compensation helps in reconstructing financial and physical life, since it provides necessary resources to get appropriate health and mental health treatment. Victim compensation is important, but it cannot completely undo the harm already inflicted upon the physical and mental health of the victim. By providing compensation, the system sends a positive message to the victim that society stands with them at this difficult hour. We have not forsaken them. We have not left them in the lurch. We have not said goodbye to you. We are caring for them. And we will always care for a victim who has gone through that trauma. Therefore, judges during sentencing should always keep in mind the best interest of victims by providing them reasonable compensation to ensure rehabilitation. Section 357A must be known to everybody, provides detailed principles while awarding compensation to the victims. it is to be kept in mind that the role of judges does not end here. There needs to be a follow-up system for monitoring the implementation of the victim compensation scheme in order to optimally aid victims. One has to ensure that the victim gets compensation and not the parents, not the hungry eagles who are there again even after the victim is compensated. The concept of intersectionality of the victim must also be kept in mind while dealing with the cases of sexual abuse. There are many instances where, for example, the victim is a woman who is physically disabled and who also belongs to a scheduled caste, tribe, backward class. Such cases must be dealt with extra caution, keeping in mind the subordination experienced by a woman who is suffering from multiple sources of oppression. There's a lot to be said, there's a lot to be heard, there's a lot to be discussed, which we will be doing in all these sessions which run throughout the day. Enjoy it, learn from it. However, with these words, I would like to conclude, and I hope that the conference would help in bringing out the best from our judicial officers, our students, and they would work towards bringing comprehensive justice for victims of sexual assault. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.